Riffin with Griffin.
This is how we do it.
Riffin with Griffin.
This is how we do it.
La 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 la. Riffin with Griffin.
This is how we do it.
This is how we do it. I'm doing my podcast. Riffin with Griffin. Let's hope it lasts. You know what? We're going to start every episode like that, everybody. Little Riffin with Griffin fun. So here we are. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for, being a part of this. But I'm here. I'm here in Chicago. And you know what? I said, enough talk. I'm on iTunes. I'm on Stitcher. I'm on every place I need to be. So I said, let's do episode 1. You know what I mean? Let's just do episode 1. And here I am. So I got my little GoPro set up. You know, it's not the best situation. So please stop tripping when you watch my damn thing. But by the time I get to episode 100, let's hope I get to 100. Hopefully by then it's going to be all fancy. You know what I mean? It's going to be ring girls or I don't know. But anyway, I thought episode 1 of Riffin with Griffin should be about me. You know, who am I, right? What's my story? You know, if you've ever wondered what my story is, well, I'm here to tell it to you right now. So, let's see. When I was, I'm in the business, right? I'm in the comedy business. I've always wanted to be a comedian. I think I've always wanted to be a comedian. My mom told me when I was a kid that I said I wanted to be a comedian, and here I am. I mean, my biggest influence was watching Eddie Murphy. Like, not even just Eddie Murphy, but like Eddie Murphy, all the things that he did, like being on SNL when he was like Gumby. Oh man, Buckwheat. He was like, that should have been called the Eddie Murphy Show back in the day. So that was like my huge influence to want to be funny, right? And then Delirious came out, and Delirious was funny. Like I've never seen anything like that before. Like a black man, fucking all red leather suit at Carnegie Hall or wherever he was. I think it was at Carnegie Hall, and he was just doing his thing, and it was like, wow. But stand-up wise, it actually wasn't until Raw. It wasn't until I saw Raw in the movie theater, and I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like, I want to do that. And so I don't even know where to even begin. It was like I was in my early 20s, and I told my mom, I was like, yo, I want to be a stand-up comedian. And she was like, what? I think my mom wanted me to be something completely different, She was like, okay. But my mom's really supportive. So she's like one of these types that if I tell her I want to do something, she's going to find a class. So she found a UCLA extension class at the, UCLA in Westwood campus, the main campus. So it was like a Tuesday night, and I go to this stand-up comedy class, and it was being taught by Sandy Shore, R.I.P. She just recently died, so God rest her soul. But she was my first stand-up teacher, and it was like such a weird experience, And then like her mom was Mitzi Shore, God rest her soul too. Everybody's dying in the Shore family. So at the time I thought, oh yeah, this is going to be my in at the Comedy Store, because you heard about it, the world famous Comedy Store. But anyway, you did this class, and I recommend anyone that wants to try to do stand-up to take one class, just one class. Take a class so you could feel comfortable, so you could like be in that environment, and you'll be like, oh, this is great. You're going to be comfortable with these other people who are in your position, people that don't know how to do it yet, or are nervous or scared. So it's a real supportive, comfortable environment. And I suggest you do that if you want to be a stand-up. I mean, that's what I did. And I think it's very helpful. I stayed in classes way too long because I didn't know, I was scared. And that's the honest answer. I was afraid. I didn't think I could do it. It was a pipe dream. So I went to the class, I finished the class, and we had a showcase at the Comedy Store, which was great. I mean, I didn't even know how important that was at the time. Like right now, if I hear about a class and they're performing at the Comedy Store, I'd be like, whoa, you guys don't even know this is too much for y'all. But I did it. I had this real fun set. I remember I had like really dumb, hacky jokes. Not like my current dumb, hacky jokes, but yeah, I remember like one of my jokes was like black people on Jeopardy. And I had like Jeopardy categories like barbecue holidays, blind singers. So stupid. I remember my big joke was about Superman too. I was like, how come people don't know Superman is Clark Kent? And then I would stand there and I'd be like this. Let me show you the difference. Clark Kent. Superman, Clark Kent, Superman. I thought I was hilarious. But it went well. I'll tell you something that I regretted. I didn't invite my mom to my first show. I didn't want her to see me. I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't want to fail in front of her. I didn't want her to think I wasn't funny. I let my stepdad come, but I didn't let her come. And I regret that. I really do regret that. I wish she would have seen my first performance, So I did that. And then I went to then I did like a comedy acting class, and then she came to the showcase of that, and that was the first time I saw on her face that she was like, oh, I think you can really do this. So that changed her mind about what she wanted me to do. But excuse me, at the time I was like 20 something years old. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Once I finished doing that first set, I was like, what do you do now? And then it was like, oh, you got to go to open mics, or you have to build up a reputation, or you have to get to know people. You have to cultivate your act and find your point of view. No one told me any of that shit. So I was like, I didn't know what I was doing, man. No mentors. Nobody was trying to help you. The open mics were weird. There was heavy hitters at these open mics. I remember going to open mic with Jim Gaffigan and Jamie Kennedy and it was anyways, I stopped. I had a really bad experience at a club where I just bombed so bad and the MC was clowning me. And I just was like, you want to talk about bully? Comics can be bullies, J. Anthony Brown, you're a bully. He was the one made me feel so bad. But, I stopped doing it because I wasn't even really doing it. I was going to open mics rarely, so I would go to an open mic. And then I would be arrogant. I was young and arrogant. I was like, oh, these people still here doing the same thing? How do I get out of here? I want to get on the real stages. I mean, that's how you think when you're young. You think that you're entitled to be at places that people earned and worked for. And that's still a problem today. There's still people today that think that they deserve to go up, places or can skip the steps it's necessary to get to where you need to get. So don't do that. Don't skip steps. So cut to later in life, I decide, I don't want to have regrets. So I started going to open mics, and then I was going by myself because my friend pushed me towards it. My buddy Jeff, he was like, go do it on your own. Because at the time it was a crutch. It's a crutch. If you have someone that you go to open mics with all the time, you think that makes you comfortable. It's cool to go with them occasionally, but don't make it where you can only go to the open mic with that person. So you young comics out there, if you're listening, don't have your people you go with. You have a core group, but you got to be able to go on your own. Sometimes you got to be like, yo, you go to that one, I'll go to this one, I'll meet you at the other one, but you got to do it on your own. It's a solo venture. It really is. You have a community of support, your peer group of support, but it's a solo venture. So make sure you get out there on your own. So that's what he did. My buddy was like, I don't want to go. If you want to be a comic, you be a comic. I mean, he yelled at me, and I was like, damn. And that was the first time the next day I went to an open mic by myself, and it changed my life because then I was like, oh, wow, I don't got to wait for anybody. I went to another spot, and then I just started building up for a year or two. That was in 2003. And then I finally got I finally started getting spots and people started to respect me a little bit. And then, 2004, I had my first out-of-town road gigs. I went to Montana and I did those triple runs, So I was driving all around Montana with another comic. I did many of those runs. And then I was the feature. Then I started headlining those runs. You had to do an hour. I remember my first hour was in Butte, Montana. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to talk about for an hour. Shit was crazy. But I did it, And then 2005, I got into the Seattle comedy competition. That's where I met some of my best friends, some of my friends today, my buddy David. I met Siddiqui Fuller on that. God rest his soul. He died this year. Damn, a lot of people dying. It was fun. Andy King. No, it's not Andy King. Is it Andy King? What is Andy's last name? I know so many Andys, but it was an Andy. I did the no, actually I did. You know what? My first contest was the Rocky Mountain Laugh Off. That's where I met people. I went to Utah. I did the Rocky Mountain Laugh Off, and I feel like I got robbed. I came in second place, and I met this comic. I remember I met this comic from St. Louis, and he was hating on me, man. He was just like, "Oh, you a hack, you a this and that," going on because I came in second. And then in Utah, you have to be relatively clean because of the Mormons. So I was doing good. I was in first place. And then there was a night where they said, okay, you could be dirty tonight. This is the one night you could be dirty. Well, I went for it. And then I came in last place that night. And I was like, so that messed me all up. So I ended up coming in second in the whole thing. And then I did the Rocky Mountain. Then I did the Seattle competition. And that was like grueling. Competitions are grueling. I just don't like what they do to you mentally. They train you for like, if you want to be like to audition, they train you for that. They train you that 5-minute sets. Like if you have to go and like audition for a late night, or there's some like comedy show with 10 comics and you have to like know how to do a quick 5-minute set. Competitions are the best for that. So I did that, I did the, Seattle comedy competition, and I hated it. I came in like 6th. I got robbed in that too, by the way. There's a theme forming here, right? So then I did another contest where I got to open for Dave Attell. The winner got to open for Dave Attell, so that was pretty cool. So I won that actually. And so I'm opening for Dave Attell. And so that was like, then it was like, okay, then I started doing things, 2006, I got on the Payaso Comedy Slam. My buddy Darren Carter, the party starter, shout out to Darren. He told me, he asked me to go with him to this real shitty like room in like Hawthorne or something like that. It was like ghetto as hell. Like somebody had been shot there the year before or something like, it was like one of those kind of places where somebody, and so they were having this like weird Latino night. And, he asked me to come with him because it was like, we had to leave at like 5 or 6, something like that. And I know Darren only asked me to go because he wanted to get in the carpool lane. He'll never admit that, but I know that's what it was, because he was even talking about it. So we get there, I got a spot, and then Alex Ramundo, one of the Latin kings of comedy, he was going up after me. He watched me, because that's the only reason why comics would watch each other, is if you're going up after the person, because we're not that supportive. And by the way, you need to be more supportive, I'm even talking to my current friends, But anyway, then he said, hey, man, I'm about to be a part of this show called the Payaso Comedy Slam. I think you should audition for it. So I went to the improv audition. I booked it, and it was great. That was a fun time. It was me, Alex, George Perez, Johnny Sanchez, Edwin San Juan, Joey Medina. Did I say him already? But it was just a bunch of like, and it was so fun. Rick Ramos. It was real fun to tape a show. We did it right too at the time. I thought this was the way you're supposed to do it. We did 2 shows out in San Bernardino. Jeff Garcia was also on the show, and it was just like, it was jam-packed, and it was like so fun, and like that was my first TV credit, and it was on Showtime, so nobody saw it. And then in 2008, I got New Faces, and I got Live at Gotham. So I did Live at Gotham. At that, I also met my manager. I met my manager. He wasn't my manager yet, but I met him at New Faces, because I had a manager. Excuse me, I had a manager at the time who shall remain nameless. He's a fucking look out for who you have as a manager. But anyway, so I met my current manager, Itai. He was an agent at the time. I met him at New Faces. We bonded over the Clippers. We were just at the bar talking about the Clippers, and it was great. He knew who I was. I didn't even know who he was, And we didn't meet till like a year later. A year later, when he was a manager, and he was like, "Yo, I'm a manager now." Signed. I've been with him ever since 2008. So I got New Faces that year, and I got Live at Gotham that year, and that's when I met my first agent, TJ Mark Walter. I love TJ. He made me an instant headliner. Wasn't making a lot of money, but he got me out there. So I'll always remember that and respect him for that. So then that's when I started doing it. Like, so 2008, I started going out on the road. So I was like doing it. Live at Gotham came out. I did New Faces. So I met people in Montreal and all that. And then 2009-ish, end of 2009, I auditioned for Workaholics. And then, I remember I got the audition, and I went there, and I saw Johnny Sanchez there. It was like Johnny Sanchez, a few other people that I knew at this audition, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to get this. And then I read it, and I was like, it was fun. Like that was a fun ass audition. The words. If you're a Workaholics fan, my audition was ain't no rules in my bedroom. There's only one rule in my bedroom. Fuck all rules. So that was that whole. It was a whole big monologue. You know, they cut it out of the show. Actually, they actually shrunk it way down for the show because they were like, oh, we got to make sure the boys are funny. They were never funnier than me. Just FYI, Adam, Blake, Anders. You know, y'all know. You know. But anyway, that was a fun audition. I wanted that part. My boy Jeff, I was telling you guys about earlier, he helped me with that audition. I worked on it like I was going out for The Godfather, and it was great. So I did the first audition, right? And I nailed that shit. I know I did, because I remember the casting director looking at her partner, and she was like, okay. And they didn't know what they wanted at the time either for Workaholics. They didn't know what they wanted. They didn't know if they wanted somebody black, like traditional, like dark-skinned black. They didn't know if they wanted somebody Latino, because there was all kinds of people in here. So anyway, I get the callback. So I go to the callback. And when I walk into the callback, I see like Jay Phillips. I see the dude from the Lopez show. I see this other dude from Boston Legal at the time. There was like all these like experienced actors in the room. And I was like, I'm not going to get this. What am I doing here? These people have been working. I was like, I'm not going to get this. But I was like, fuck it. I'm going to do my best I can. So I go in the room, and then like Adam's in there. And I didn't even know Adam, this was his show. I had no idea that this was his show. I just saw him at the Brea Improv like a week earlier, and I was giving him like older comic advice, like, you know, keep doing what you do, youngster. You're gonna be all right. And he sold a show, and I'm acting like I'm giving him advice. So it was crazy. So I did that audition, and I had fun in that. You know, I nailed it. I know I nailed it because Adam was texting one of my other buddies like, yo, your boy killed it. But then I had to audition like 3 more times. So the first time I auditioned, they were like, that was good, but you were too big. The next time I go in, the director, Kyle, he's like, what happened? I was like, y'all told me I was too big. So what do you want? You know? So then I had to do it again. Then it was like, wait. You know, and then I booked a part. And I remember I was in El Paso, Texas. Actually, the last time I've been to that club, the comic strip in El Paso. And I remember Steve Simone was featuring for me at the time, and he shouldn't be featuring, but he just wanted to travel with me and make some money. It was like, we're buddies, so that's why he came. That guy is a monster. Steve Simone's a monster. And so we were just there, and then we were in the car together, and I got the call from Itai, my manager. He was like, you booked a part. Like 4 out of 10, you know? And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be on TV. And then I walked into the comic strip thinking to myself, well, this is the last time I'm walking into this building at this rate. Needless to say, I haven't been back since. It's been over 10 years since I've been to the El Paso comic strip. I loved it. It was a cool room. I like the guy, but he don't want to pay. So bye. See ya. I don't care. So I booked Workaholics. That didn't air till like 2010-ish, I think it was. Then that aired, and then basically that changed my life. I mean, Montez changed my life, you know. And then not only was I on Workaholics was like, it's like people's favorite show. You know what I mean? It's like there's people out there that see me and they're like, oh my God, I love that show. And even especially at the heyday of it, like in the middle of it, people were like, oh man, this is me and my friends. And then they think they think it's real. They think it's a documentary. You know, they're coming at me with the lines like, why you sell them a broke ass hovercraft, Montez? You know, so that people always ask me, do you get annoyed by it? And I'm gonna be lying if I said it wasn't annoying sometimes, but at the same time, as annoying as it can be, it also there's a place in my heart that I'm like, damn, they really responded to me. Like people remember me for what I did, so I have to love it at the same time, you know. And I'm famous enough where it's like 1 out of 50 people are like, oh, can I take a picture, or act crazy. So I'm fine with that. Like sometimes people act like they act up. Like I remember I was at this casino gig and I'm walking, it's late at night, you know, and this dude's like, yo man, oh, it's Montez, what's up? And I'm like, hey man, how you doing? You know, and then he just keeps going. He's yelling like, yo, y'all, guess what? This Montez right here. Yo, Montez. He's circling me and yelling with his friends, Montez. And I go, hey man, thank you, but I'm just trying to walk here. This dude goes like this, you ain't that famous. I swear to God, I wanted to punch him in his fucking face. You ain't that. That's what people want to do. They want to build you up and tear you the fuck down, you know? That's why I hate on Instagram. You on Instagram and you like, I follow people not because I want to follow them, but I follow them because I have OCD about their private profile. So if you send me a private profile, I want to see who the fuck this is. So I'll send it like, who is this? I know it's just my weird thing. And then like people will like just recently I followed somebody and this girl's all like puts up a post like, oh, should I say yes to this? And I was like, oh my God. Like people are like whoo, that shit gets to you. But anyway, so Montez changed my life. Then from getting on Workaholics, I got on Blunt Talk with Patrick Stewart. That was great. It was fun to just being on a screen with Patrick Stewart. Man, that was so fun. We had all my lines. Most of my lines were with him, especially in season 2. That was so fun. I wish that show would have kept going, but it was stars, and it's just they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. I'm just gonna be real. I think it was the first time they did like a comedy like this. They put it on a Saturday at 8:00. It's like, do you want people to watch this? I don't understand what these networks are doing. But anyway, so I did that for 2 seasons, and then at the same time I got on I'm Dying Up Here, and that was great. And I've told this story before. I just was at the Comedy Store one night. And the manager, Adam Egid, he's like, yo, man, Jim Carrey's here. And I was like, is he bumping me? Like, I was so mad. Because I was like, yo, dude, this is our time. You made it already. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? I don't know why I got so mad. That's just my natural thing is to go to the negative first. And I'm trying to work on that, actually. And I'm going to be talking about this in future podcasts about communication and attitude and stuff because you got to change it if you really want to make it. I feel like I could have gone further, but I use negativity as like motivation, and I got to stop doing that. It's like, oh, they against me. I've done that my whole life. When I was playing basketball, I did that. I was that way. When I was in high school, I always felt like I wasn't good enough and they were getting on me. So I used that as like motivation. I'm going to show you. So it's one way, but it shouldn't be your only way, So I was mad. I went on. I had a great set. Come to find out that Jim Carrey and all the producers, director, and writers for the show, they're scouting comics for these parts, So the next day I got an audition, and then like 3 weeks later I was on the show. So then, and that was like, I'm Dying Up Here will always have a special place in my heart because it like, I had to be a real actor on that show. It was challenging to go from like Montez being silly to have to be like this character that had like depth and emotions, and he was in Vietnam, and then he had this weird relationship with race, and it was the 70s, so I had to think about that, and I loved it so much, and I'm really sad that the show was gone. The show is gone. It was canceled, and it makes me sad. I don't think Showtime. I don't think the creators of the show and Showtime were ever on the same page. That's my honest opinion about it. I think that they wanted something different. I think it was like Jim Carrey, and they thought, oh, let's do a comedy, and then he delivered now 2 dramas. I'm Dying Up Here and Kidding is like, woo, you got to watch Kidding. That shit is deep. It's like he's on a whole other thing on that one, but it was a great experience meeting Jim Carrey and meeting all the people on the crew. I love everybody on that show on I'm Dying Up Here. I love them all. Going to be some of my best friends for life. So I appreciated that experience. And so after I'm Dying Up Here, here I am. I'm traveling around the country. I've started this podcast. Now we riffing with Griffin. You know what I mean? So if you have a dream to be whatever you want to be, I suggest you get off your ass and make that shit happen. I think that too many times we become a slave to our fears. We're scared. Like, why don't you try it? Because you think you can't do it? Well, how are you going to know unless you try? Sounds cliche, but it's so true. No matter what it is that you're trying to do, at least make an effort so so you can be like, you know what, I tried that. Damn, it just didn't work out. Because then you'll know all the reasons why it didn't work out too. And even if you don't know those reasons, even if it's like bad luck or it's like someone was better, you put yourself in the game. And I think that's important. I always look back on my career and I'm like, damn, I wish when I was 20, after I'd done that set at the Comedy Store, I wish I would have chased after it way harder than I did. But things happen when they happen, right? People say that. I don't necessarily believe in that. I think that we're just survivors as human beings, and we make things happen because we make things happen. That's why we can live in a cold place. We can live in a hot place because we're adaptable. So I've adapted to my situation and I tried to catch up, but I have no, it's like I have regrets because I know what it could have been, or I know what I should have done, and I use those regrets to make sure that I don't make the same mistakes. So I don't always succeed, but I'm out here doing it, man. I'm trying. So we're going to try it with this too. Here I am again, late to the party again. Just like my comedy career, I started 8 years too late. Same thing with podcasting. I'm starting 8 years too late, but who cares, right? We out here doing it. I'm going to try to set up a call-in thing where you could call and leave a message on my website, ericgriffin.com, because, hey, listen, I'm all about giving people advice about the things that I've gone through. You want to talk to me about certain things, please send me messages. I want to make this better. So, but right now, that's just me. I live in LA, and I'm going to continue to try to do this right now. I just pitched some shows to the networks. They all said no, but it was a learning experience. I learned a lot about it. So I'm going to continue to try to, get back on TV because I love acting a lot. And I'm going to continue to do stand-up. So right now I'm in Chicago. I got a show tonight. It's Saturday night in Chicago. In a couple weeks, I'll be in Minnesota. So if you're listening to this now, I'll have it out before those Minnesota dates. But you can find all my dates at ericgriffin.com with a K. ericgriffin.com. I'm at Twitter at Erik Griffin. And, I hope you guys enjoyed Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with